work, improve retail trade, and make Ogun State the true gateway state that it is.
The activities of day one of the forum were brought to a close with a question and answer session. Day two of the Ogun State Investors Forum commenced with an opening address by the state's Deputy Governor, Prince Segun Adeshegun, who said in his speech that Day 2 presentations will convince all that Ogun State is the best place to invest. Afterwards, the first plenary session titled Manufacturing in Ogun State commenced with a presentation by the President CEO of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. According to his paper, Ogun State should take the following steps to achieve economic development. Set up an industrial park. Develop infrastructure, that is the Lagos-Ibadan Road and gas pipeline projects. And also make the Olokola Free Trade Zone project a reality.
If they are able to get the right investor to put up a massive infrastructure, by having that Olokola port, Ogun State will have more business than all the ports put together in Nigeria. Because today, as we are talking, we don't have any deep sea port in the western part of Africa. And by setting up one, it means that most of the businesses will come down here. I mean, today it takes you weeks to clear just a 20-foot container in Lagos.
The Ogun State Commissioner for Commerce and Industry took over to explain other advantages that potential investors in Ogun State stand to gain. These incentives include establishment of a one-stop shop to remove the bureaucracy in the process of making contact for investment, launching of the Security Trust Fund to ensure security in Ogun State, inauguration of a State Mineral Resources Environmental Compliance Committee to put a stop to illegal miners, accessibility of loans for small-scale enterprise in partnership with the Bank of Industry, and an open-door policy that encourages investors.
If you are a friend to the governor and you are lobbying him to get things done in Ogun State, it's a dead on arrival issue. Take it from me. Because he scrutinizes his friends' things more than outsiders. So if you are his friend and you think you can get things done, it's a failure. We have a standard, a minimum standard that is required in the state. So all you need to do is just to meet up that standard, and you can be rest assured you are home and dry with us.
He further assured of access to about 13 million potential clients because of Ogun State's proximity to Lagos State. He rounded up his presentation by listing the solid minerals and numerous manufacturing companies existing in the state. Other personalities who discussed the topic of industrialization made their contributions in the areas of factors that attract investors, as well as getting financial backing for industrial projects. In response to the session, some potential investors made their interest for collaboration known right there and then.
I love Ogun State. Anytime I come to Ogun State, my ideas pop into my head.
The second plenary session for Day 2 focused on discussions on funding opportunities and financing. As the main speaker, the Managing Director of the Bank of Industry spoke first on the various sources of funding and factors that determine getting financing from banks.
First, we have to have the right policy and the environment and incentives. We have to have good financial institutions, no matter how good you are. If you do not have a good package, local, foreign, he won't look at you. The 5 C's of banking are these. They say there are 5 C's in credit. The first and most important is character. We're talking about capabilities, we're talking about skills, we're talking about results, we're talking about track record. So put those two together. Put those two together if you have it. the money will be chasing after you.
Other guests in the panel also made their contributions as regards financial institutions.
Private sector.
A question and answer session followed. The last plenary session dwelt on Ogun State's new way of working. The session started with a presentation by the State Head of Service on the civil service reforms embarked upon by the state government. Her presentation was closely followed by that of the Special Advisor and Director General of the Ogun State Bureau of Lands and Survey, who spoke on some new land investment incentives that will benefit investors.
We are willing to concede to an 80% reduction of your assessed costs. For the manufacturing sector, again, the same conditions apply. You must mobilize the site within 180 days in accordance to your business plans. We will give you 60% rebate. For the commercial sector, we will give you a 40% rebate on the condition that you're able to mobilize the site within 180 days. And finally, for community organizations, those that want to build religious places of worship and also educational institutions, we will concede to a 75% reduction. Please note, the elements that make your assessment cost are premium, capital contribution, annual ground rent, preparation fee for C of O, registration fee for C of O, execution fee, your survey fees, application fee, and service fees.
Chairman of the Ogun State Internal Revenue Service also presented a paper in which he highlighted tax incentives for investors. In the area of public-private partnership, a presentation was made on the arrangement put in place by the government of the state. This was done by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Public-Private Partnership, or PPP. The final presentation in Day 2 of the Ogun State Investors Forum was on trade and investment in the state. The feedback session that followed revealed that some investors were already getting acquainted with the business setting of Ogun State. The Ogun State Governor, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, had set out to sell the state positively through the two-day Investors Forum. Of a truth, it attracted personalities from within and outside the country. The forum has truly made its impact.
I think this is a very good forum, and I want to once again congratulate the Governor of Ogun State for convening this forum, and to suggest that all states need to convene similar fora to expose their potentials for investors to come into their states.
I must say the governor must have spent years planning his strategy, because they had it all prepared. Everything is working. It is like clockwork, and his staff are so geared.
Members of the National Assembly, also in attendance, agreed that Ogun State is heading for greatness and will get all the necessary support.
And as the chairman of privatization in the Senate, as a member of Investment Committee of Senate, everything possible will be done to defend the interest of Ogun State in National Assembly. As the senator representing the governor, I am proud of him.
In the next 5 years, if all the things that we are planning comes to fruition, then Ogun State will be like one of the Asian tigers in terms of activity, economy, and what have you.
As for investors and other participants, the impact of the forum was enormous.
We can't come to know those areas from the website.
But here we get the full detail of what are the untapped areas, where we can develop, what are the rate of return, and what are the opportunities available and the facilities provided by the government, state government. And what we see, the governor himself is a professional, and he's a chartered accountant. He's my fellow. I'm also a chartered accountant. So these are professionals. They know what to do, how to progress the economy, which I think the Ogun State is hanging towards.
It's all about good institutions. It's about good governance. It's about reducing bureaucracy. It's about having a commitment of the people that work within the civil service itself to appreciate and align with what the governor wants to do, because sometimes there's some disparity. It's a case of he's saying his own, that kind of attitude. So, but we want one in which there's a total consensus as far as everybody's concerned, and therefore you have we're all singing from the same hymn sheet and have the same objectives.
Certainly closer to Lagos in terms of economic development, certainly feeding Lagos and trying to do better what overcapacity is causing them not to be as effective as with Lagos, thereby making this place even more economically more prosperous than we are today.
As the two-day Investors Forum drew to a close, Governor Ibikunle Amosun took the opportunity to remind all that Ogun State is ready to set the standard in economic development.
On our honor, all that advices that they've given, we will adhere strictly to them. And all the promises we made within the next, even between now and probably 6 months, you will come to say that truly this will mean business. So Ogun State is truly open for business, busy with setting standards. Standard we want to call this is Ogun Standard. We want to send the benchmark. Thank you.
For comments, questions, and observations, send a text to the GSM number displayed on your screen. Or send an email to be a part of rebuilding our beloved gateway state. Ogun Isheya.